So let's bring in our first person, our first guest today. Thank you for those who joined us on Tuesday. As we know, the president, the ex-president, soon to be, hopefully, for some people, they say at least, the new president once again. That's unless you want to keep sleepy Joe Biden. Mr. Donald Trump is with us today. How you doing there, Donald Trump?
Pasta to go. First of all, what an honor to be on the show with you. You do amazing work, and as you can tell, I like pasta. You like pasta. We like to eat it. We like to play with it. We like to throw it around. I like to go over to North Korea and throw it at Rocket Man. He throws it back at me. We have fun. But what a thrill to be here. I hear very great things about you, and I enjoyed watching you guest host on Jimmy Dore. Jimmy's a sharp guy. I got a lot of great things to say.
Well, Mr. President, thank you so much. I'll take the compliments. But listen, you won big in Iowa and now New Hampshire. But Nikki Haley, your opponent, she vows to fight on. What are your thoughts on her?
I think Bird Brain is totally compromised, okay? I like to call her Bird Brain and little baby Boeing, okay? Boeing gave her millions of dollars. She left the UN and she slid right into the DMs of Boeing. It's very sad. It's very disgraceful, into the arms of the military-industrial complex, which is a real thing, Pasta. It's a very real thing. You know it. I know it. And Bird Brain, she bought her McMansion down there in the nice island down there in South Carolina, and she completely sold out. And I won big in Iowa, and then I won even bigger in New Hampshire, if you can believe it. And Haley, she did a lot worse than expected. They thought she was going to do so much better, and she did terribly. Okay, so I don't know why she's still in the thing. She's got all kinds of Democratic money pouring into her coffers. She's got deep state people backing her. It's horrible. Nothing's going to beat MAGA. Nobody can stop it. We all know what's going to happen. I'm going to win again, and I'm going to win big. And Haley's going to go home. She'd go home, go back to mommy, go back to Boeing. She's not going to be my vice president either, by the way, Pasta. You heard it first.
That's interesting because a lot of people feel like she's holding out for the vice presidency, Mr. President. But, Mr. President, she always goes around and touts her foreign policy. What do you think about her foreign policy? You were mentioning Boeing there.
I think it's terrible. I mean, look, she never saw a war she didn't like. And she's basically, once Lindsey Graham comes out of the closet, decides to dress and drag, it's going to look like something like Nikki Haley. Okay. It's going to be very disgusting and very terrible and very swampy, by the way. Very, very swampy. But I think her foreign policy is horrible. It's everything that opposes everything that MAGA believes. Okay. We believe in negotiation, peace through strength. We believe in talking to Russia. Okay, she's so mean to my friend Putin. I hate the things she says about Putin. He's so misunderstood. He's such a very nice guy. Rocket Man is a very nice guy, and he wrote me those love letters. She was here in New Hampshire criticizing me about the love letters, okay? If she could have read them, and she wanted to read them, but I didn't let her read them, by the way, because I don't think Bird Brain knows how to read, quite frankly. But the love letters were so beautiful, Pasta, and I got along with Russia. I got along with China. I competed with Xi Jinping Pong. They didn't get to rape us anymore with trade. Haley will sell us out to everybody. She'll sell us out to the military-industrial complex. She'll sell us out to China and everybody, and she will start World War III so fast, Pasta, it'll make your head spin.
Well, Mr. President, what is your foreign policy going to look like? And more importantly, you've been a critic of this Ukraine war. How are you going to end this war once you become president?
Pasta, I will have that thing straightened out in 23 hours, okay? Not 24. 24 is too long. I'll have it straightened out in 23 hours. A bag of the freshest coat from Colombia he's ever had. I'll get Putin in the room, and we will negotiate a deal that people didn't believe could happen. Okay, we're going to have dancing bears. We're going to have Russian golden showers. We're going to have Stoli. Okay, it's going to be unbelievable. We're going to get the hockey player Sergei Fedorov to come out of retirement and do some skating for us. It's going to be a beautiful summit, and I will straighten that thing out in 23 hours. And if Zelensky doesn't like it, well, too bad, because there's no way that Putin and Russia is going to lose. They can't lose. But my MAGA foreign policy is non-interventionism. It's peace through strength. It's negotiation. And it's actually talking to people. I like talking to people as opposed to killing them. Okay? So I met with Rocket Man. I brought him a cheeseburger from Five Guys and a basketball signed by LeBron James. And we negotiated a beautiful, beautiful deal. So that's what I'm going to do when I get back in there, Boston. We send Bird Brain back to Boeing.
Mr. President, some us imperialist leftists are still a little bit nervous about your stance on China. How are you going to handle or negotiate or come to the table with a man like Xi Jinping?
Well, first of all, I'm going to show him I understand his culture. I'm going to show him all the Karate Kid movies. Okay, I'm going to show him that I understand how things work. A binga banga boonga. I'm going to show him Mr. Miyagi. Mr. Miyagi's a tough guy. He's a negotiator. He's a competitor. So we're going to definitely be watching Karate Kid. But you got to deal with China. You got to be strong, and you can't waver. Okay, we've been ripped off and screwed by them for so long, and so terribly, and it's been quite very unfair, quite frankly. And many people, a lot of people, most people are saying no one was tougher on China than Trump, just like I was with Russia and Ukraine. You know what Obama sent over to Ukraine? He sent pillows and blankets. Okay, I sent the rockets, I sent the missiles, and they still couldn't get it done. So we're going to see a lot of negotiation, and we're going to see amazing trade deals when I get back in there, Pasta. Believe me. Believe me.
Mr. President, let's talk about some of the most important issues when it comes to the Republican voters. We had a show the other night where we had some guests on across the spectrum. We had a very fierce conversation when it comes to the border. How are you going to be better on the border than Nikki Haley when, unfortunately, Mr. President, you didn't get the wall done?
Well, look, the wall was a tough thing. That was a very tough thing. I had to deal with Chuck and Nancy, those two lunatics. Okay, you know, Nancy, who's got the husband running around in underwear, half drunk, with Maxwell's silver hammer coming down upon his head. Okay, that person. And Schumer, Chuck Schumer, who's related to that fat, ugly pig, Amy Schumer. She's a total slob, and she's so unfunny. Okay, I got to give it to Rosie. Rosie O'Donnell is way funnier than Amy Schumer. And actually, part of my border policy in my next term will be to put Rosie O'Donnell, after starving her for 48 hours, we're going to put her at the border. We're going to put her and Chris Christie at the border. We're not going to feed them for a week. And then we're going to build several Golden Corral buffets down there, and we're going to cut them loose. And there's no telling what could happen, okay? They will eat the drug lords. They will eat the cartels. We're going to make Golden Corral buffets with the bodies of the cartel members, okay? That's what we're going to do, Boston. We're going to erect a beautiful wall that's going to be impenetrable. You're not going to be able to get through it.
Okay? Mr. President, I don't mean to interrupt you, but once again, you are saber rattling now about the cartels. I'm one of those people who believe that you can't just close the border. You have to close the bases. Wouldn't you agree that our foreign policy, with all these bases in Latin America, the life of still living by the Monroe Doctrine, is what causes our foreign policy, Mr. President?
It's true. No, it's very true. Oliver Stone, he went south of the border. He made a great documentary meeting with all the very, very strong leaders down there. And they got a lot to say, and I think people should check those out. They're actually very interesting, just like his documentary with Putin. But we need to stop meddling in the affairs of these other countries, okay? It's one CIA-backed coup after another, and they're failures. They're terrible failures, and usually they result in blowback, and a lot of that blowback are the people we see pouring into our country over the border. So it really starts with our foreign policy, and we got to do a lot better. And everybody should read Gary Webb's series on narco trafficking and CIA trafficking and connections to intelligence with drug smuggling in our country. I think everybody should read that.
Wow. Mr. President, this sounds like a new Mr. Trump over here. I mean, unfortunately, you did go along with Elliot Abrams and try to whack Maduro and the Bolivian coup you went along with. And before you left office with just a week left, you labeled Cuba a state sponsor of terrorism. Are you telling me that you changed your stances on American foreign policy in Latin America?
I might be reversing course, okay? I don't want to say too much, Pasta, but I can give you some breadcrumbs, okay? I spent some time with Jesse Ventura, and he actually went to Cuba and he met with Castro, and he said it was an amazing experience. He had a great time. He went down there when he was governor. He told everybody to screw. He told George W. Bush, I'm going to go to Cuba. I don't care what you say, okay? You're stupid. I'm strong. I'm the body. I'm going to go to Cuba. So we'll take a look at that. And look, I didn't like the way Maduro dressed. I didn't like his suits. I thought he was kind of schluppy, okay? And I thought Guaido had it. Guaido had the look. He had the pedigree. He had the McKinley pedigree like Buttigieg. Okay, he was like a little Venezuelan Buttigieg, and I thought he was going to do a great job. But Elliot Abrams, he lied to me. He misled me, and I'm not going to make those mistakes again when I get back in there, boss. To believe me, I won't.
Thank you, Mr. President. What about the economy, Mr. President? How do you plan on fixing this economy? Inflation's through the roof.
Inflation's very high. It's very, very high, almost as high as Hunter Biden on a bender in Ukraine with Zelensky. Incredibly high numbers. Biden inflation's terrible. It's a terrible thing. Look, I'm going to drill, baby, drill. We're going to free up American energy. We're going to build pipelines everywhere. We're going to have so many pipelines. Okay, we're going to have pipelines everywhere. Hunter's going to try and smoke all the pipelines. Okay, it's going to be unbelievable. He's going to oversee the pipelines because no one handles pipes better than Hunter Biden, believe me. But we're going to take the mask off energy, and we're going to be energy independent, and we're going to audit the Federal Reserve. I'd like to get rid of the Federal Reserve. I want to name Ron Paul chair of the Fed. I think that'd be unbelievable. His first act will be to get the thing out of there, get him out, throw him out, audit the Fed, get rid of it. And I think we should go back to Congress having control over monetary supply, not a private bank. So I wanted to do it in my first term, but I had so many people around me who wouldn't let me do it. But I'm not gonna have to deal with having to run again. I'm gonna get in there and I'm gonna get a lot more done, Pasta, believe me.
Final question, Mr. President. Nikki Haley called for you to debate her since she's the last opponent standing. Will you debate her, Mr. President?
I don't think so. I don't think I want to lower myself to the birdcage with Birdman, quite frankly. I think that she's just a nasty lady and she's flailing right now. She knows that she failed. She's totally failed. This thing is completely over. I won the first two contests. And not only that, in her home state where she was governor, she was a terrible governor, by the way, just horrible. She was on her back for everybody. She was in the back of cars. She was in hotel rooms while her husband was over in Afghanistan. Very, very disloyal. Not that I've ever cheated on anybody. I would never do that. I'm an honorable Christian, hand to the Bible, swear to God. But I think that Haley's terrible, and I'm not going to debate her. Her thing's imploding. It's only a matter of time before she runs out of cash. No one's going to want to do any more fundraisers with her. And everybody's coming home to MAGA, believe me. It's going to happen, Pasta. You watch. You watch.
Ladies and gentlemen, Eric Jackman, Mr. President. Give it up for Eric Jackman. Jackman radio, buddy. Listen, next time I want the wig, I want the suit,
Okay.
I want the whole 9 yards. But I think, listen, you are amazing. That's awesome. And seeing Mr. President wear a Kennedy hat, is it okay that we let the audience know that you are working for Mr. Kennedy, or is that kind of mum's the word?
No, it's not mum's the word. I'm actually, as far as like work goes, I'm not on his staff anymore. So I am a free agent now as far as work, but I'm supporting his campaign. Still supportive of him. I'm still in touch with Bobby. So it's been quite a ride. It's been a wild ride. I joined the campaign in June and was on the staff until about the end of November. And it's it's not perfect. Look, I see everyone's tweets. I know everyone's concerns. I don't agree with him on his stance on Israel. I'm upfront about that. I've raised these concerns to him. But it's not enough to make me want to bail on a once in a lifetime independent candidate who is already at pro levels and who I believe is going to go beyond pro levels. And if he gets in those debates, I think it's anyone's game.
Yeah.
So
listen, I'm no longer supporting him. The Israel-Palestine issue was just too much for me. I wish he'd come out and say, listen, I support Israel's right to exist. If that's the way you have to feel, obviously a lot of people feel different. But then say if he called for a ceasefire right away, he's still not calling for a ceasefire. It's kind of upsetting, but you know what? I'm not going to harp on it. But here's one thing I do want to point out, though, Eric. I wish right now Mr. Kennedy would start calling for a debate with Donald Trump and Joe Biden. Now's the time for Kennedy to start calling for a debate that they're narrowing this down, because I would like to see him get on the debate stage. Obviously, his stances on the COVID protocols are far above anybody else. Latin America, we were just talking about, he's definitely having more of an open mind and understands the history of Latin America and why there's so much traffic to the border. So right now, I think the time is for him to start calling for debates. What do you think about that?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, there's a serious contrast to be made between Kennedy and Trump and Biden. It's a three-man race. I have a lot of respect for Cornel West. I like Jill Stein, but as far as resources are going to go, media coverage and polling, it's Bobby. Bobby's the alternative to the two major parties, and I've accepted that. And like you said, he's great on the COVID stuff and lockdowns. He's great on our border. He's great on Russia, Ukraine. He's great on accountability, the environment, wanting to release all the Kennedy files. I mean, he's there on all that, man. It's just, I know it's the big glaring problem with Israel and Palestine, and it's a major bummer. I'm totally bummed about it. Yeah, I mean, I know Bobby would totally be game to debate those guys, and I believe he would do circles around them. I mean, just as far as mental acuity goes and just grasp of the issues and Also, Bobby is more in there with the people. I mean, you go to his events, we're seeing thousands of people plus turning up in all states around the country. And Bobby takes questions and he meets with everyone after. He poses for a picture with everyone who wants one, and you can ask him a question and see him. We don't Trump's doing that more than Biden, of course. Biden's not doing it at all. They're just trying to get through days where they don't have that guy falling down a flight of stairs or trying to shake hands with ghosts, you know?
Yeah.
So
I was hoping that you would have he can't even find the stairs in your spiel, but that's okay. You hit so many great things, even the Zelensky getting a bag of Coke. Listen, that's it for today for Eric Jackman. We're calling everybody out. Right now, RFK needs to call them out to get a debate and get on that debate stage. But let's call out Eric Jackman. Eric, where can people find you? And I hope you come back to the show soon.
Yeah, I'm honored you had me on here in one of your first shows. Thank you, Pasta. I'll always come on.
Because it was not too long ago, 4 years ago in New Hampshire during this primary. That's when we met.
Yeah, with Tulsi.
Yeah.
I know, dude, it's crazy that 4 years have gone by since that primary. It's
to her stance. Oh, my God. Ouch. So much pain,
hey, man.
Eric. So much pain. Let everybody know where they can find you.
Yeah, so I'm on Twitter at Jackman Radio, and then on YouTube, Rumble, Jackman Radio, and then on Instagram, my account is Senator Jackman, and we're on Podbean and Spotify. And if you want to support my work, it's patreon.com/Jackman Radio. And I'm really congratulations on the new show, Pasta. This looks awesome, and we'll get my brother on here, and we'll get on here. And next time we'll plan it out, and I'll wear the full Trump costume, and we can have some fun with that for sure.
We should do that. We should have different characters on there. Your brother's Rand Paul is great. You guys are awesome. You're just great people. Every time I see you, all I want to do is get a big old hug from you because there's nothing but love coming from the Jackman brothers. You guys are all heart. We'll see you soon. Thank you so much. Thank you, Mr. President. You have yourself a good day.
You too, Pasta. It's an honor. Take good care.
Eric Jackman, ladies and gentlemen, from the Jackman Podcast.